Yo, 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 peoples. What's up? Happy flippin' Saturday, man. Um, Another beautiful day for some video gaming news and some gaming. I forgot to tell everybody, actually, I forgot all the way together. I've got something going on today, so it's going to be a shorter stream day. At about a little bit before lunchtime, actually, I'm going to have to call it, unfortunately. So it will not be. Sometimes that happens on the weekends. I actually have something happening earlier today than normal, and it's gonna cause me to have to shut the stream down. Probably about 5.5 hours in here today, so it will not be our normal stream time length of our streams. So just be prepared for that, man. I apologize. It sucks. Sometimes the weekends are like that, though. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. Life is life, man. I do this as much as I can, as often as I can, because I love it. I enjoy it. I love hanging out with you guys and doing what we do. But it's just part of what it is, man. So got something going on. I totally forgot until yesterday. And after the stream, whenever I was talking to some family, and so that's the case. So probably around 11:30 today, about 5 hours from now, roughly, a little over that. We'll have to call it. Okay, so we'll get the news in. We'll play a little bit of Fallout New Vegas, and then that'll be it for the day. Okay, we'll get another longer one in. We should be able to tomorrow, so it'll be all right, man. It'll be all right. But I do apologize. But on that note, man, we got the news. We got some gaming. The glass is half full of streaming content, man. Not half empty, you know? Let's go ahead and dive in here and let's do what we do, okay? Let's get it. Let's go ahead and pause the tunes. All right? The Jam-a-Lambs. Let's go over here and get in it. Yeah, I need to fix my camera. There we go. Nice. Video gaming news for today, August 19th. Fantastic. This ambitious RTS RPG mashup from StarCraft Pro players draws inspiration. Let's take a look at this. We've talked about enough of the PS Plus stuff for this month and some of already what's been leaked about what's coming next month and everything. I'm not going to dive into it today. Delta Force is coming for Battlefield's Broken Crown. Look, Battlefield's Broken Crown has already been swooped up by BattleBit Remastered, by the way. But we'll see what's up with Delta Force, okay? Xbox's next batch of 9 free games is in incredible value. We all know what is about to hit for Game Pass, right? Game Pass is about to get Starfield, which is bringing a lot of people to or back to the subscription service of Game Pass. But we'll see what that article specifically was talking about. New God of War game for PS5 seemingly confirmed. Weird that they would make another game in a series that is very, very profitable for them. Sony Santa Monica kills these games in a good way. They absolutely. I mean, these games are bangers, dude. Well, I mean, look, I haven't played Ragnarok yet. Waiting for the PC version, but 2018's God of War, phenomenal. As much as I mauled it out playing that game on Give Me God of War difficulty, it was an amazing experience. It was so good. I enjoyed it immensely. I thought it was great. Even playing it on PC, Sony Santa Monica nailed it. In my opinion, the PC port was fantastic. Felt really good, played really well, and I can't wait for Ragnarok to hit PC too. Can't wait. Only thing I'm worried about is how much narrative hand holding is going to be going on. What up, Davey? What's up, brother? Happy Saturday, dude. There, from what I understand and heard a lot of whenever Ragnarok dropped was that there's a lot of narrated, voice acted hand holding in that game, and it's gonna really piss me off if that's the case. I don't like that, dude. If anything, developers, if they want to put that in the game, they need to make it an option to turn that off as well. I don't like that, dude. But new God of War game seemingly confirmed for PS5. Let's take a look. Okay, here's the start date, dude, for the beta. It looks like we'll pull this up. We already know most of the stuff about what's going on with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Um, the game release is slated for a November 10th release. We knew there was going to be a beta in October at some point beforehand. The beta will be on a few different weekends, a couple to a few different weekends. The first beta weekend will be PlayStation exclusive. This will be the last time that happens. Bet your bottom dollar on that one, because this is PlayStation's current contract with Call of Duty and Activision is running out, as well as the fact that Xbox and Microsoft are about to purchase Activision Blizzard. So this will not be happening with Call of Duty titles moving forward after that PlayStation contract runs out. So we'll take a dive in here though. Nice. So what were you gaming on, dude? Were you playing Divinity? Gotta go to work on a Saturday. You're a grinder, bro. You're a straight up grinder, man. I respect it, dude. Yeah, right on. It sounds like you're finally to the point where you have grasped the way the game works a little bit more, and it's helped you enjoy it more than you were initially, which is great, dude. I'm glad. It's a good game. It is a good game. Just because it's, in my opinion, a good game doesn't mean everybody will love it, but you know, obviously. New Xbox sale makes some games as cheap as $1. All right. You gonna be a full day of work today or what, dude? Yeah. This is always a sad thing for us to deal with. We talked about this yesterday. Um, Xbox 360 servers are shutting down in July of next year. It's a difficult thing for us as gaming enthusiasts to embrace, right? Just a half a day? Oh, sick, dude. Okay, cool. Yeah, to make money, gotta or to spend money, gotta make money, right? Yeah, and the world is not getting cheaper. That's for sure. Jesus, yeah, dude. Good night. Too many rich people making it hard on people that don't have very much money. You know what I mean? It's the structure and balance of the way the economy works is pretty brutal. Well, for the majority of the people in the world, you know, it's a very brutal thing to deal with. God dang. We'll get off that. We'll get back into the gaming news. Get a little bit too deep and dark this morning on that front. Um, So the 360 is 18 years old at this point. And it never feels good seeing these online shops go away. There's something to be said here though, that like none of the what they're saying right now is like none of the multiplayer. So you're gonna lose access to being. You're gonna lose the ability to access purchasing any of the digital content. But what you won't lose access to is being able to download and install any of the games that you've ever purchased. So yeah, yeah, bro. Yeah, that sounds good. No worries, man. So if you have a 360, you will still be able to access servers to download your games, even after this time period of July of next year. July 29th, I think, is the date. You'll still be able to access servers to download the games that you've purchased that are linked to your account. You'll still be able to download those and install them and play them. And you'll still even be able to access multiplayer. They're not taking away multiplayer functionality from what we read. We'll have to keep track of this as we move forward and see if they stick to these mechanics with what they are and aren't shutting down and, keeping as part of what they're letting people maintain as part of the platform. And look, I mean, I guess the glass is half full here. It's from a business point of view, you have to kind of understand it a little bit. It's maintaining something that most people don't access anymore. The majority of game players have moved on to newer consoles, right? So it's they've kept this digital, all this digital content up and available and for everybody for roughly 18 years at this point, and it's going to keep going for another year. They're giving everybody roughly a year time frame notice to get in here and get the things they want before it's gone. From a business standpoint, though, they've probably gotten to a point where they're tracking how many people are actually accessing this content, buying things, and it probably has not been beneficial for Xbox for a long time, to be honest. It probably hasn't benefited them for quite some time. But they've decided to go ahead and cut their losses here and just say we're not going to maintain this anymore and be done with it, right? This side of the console, anyways, the digital storefront and all that. So, the history of gaming is something that is tough to preserve wholly. 100% preservation of gaming history is nigh impossible, really. I mean, but there are a lot of developers that have a more dedicated approach to it, which we need to have. It's very important. And this is always the worry. What happens to all this content? What happens to all this content whenever it's gone? Whenever the developer, the company that maintains your access to this content, whenever they take it away. We see it happen all the time. We saw it happen earlier this year with Nintendo, right? Nintendo got rid of the was it the Wii U? No, it wasn't the Wii U, was it? Was it the Wii eShop and the DS eShop? Both? It might have been the Wii U. God dang, dude. I can't remember which one it was. It was one of those two, but the DS and the Wii or the Wii U eShop, I can't remember off the top of my head right now. And everybody was, and Nintendo's the worst because they're like, well, we're not going to give you access to this content anymore. You can't purchase it anymore, right? We're taking it all away. The thing about Nintendo is they remove the entire platform. At least Xbox here, like I said, the glass is half full. Xbox is still letting people access their games, download their titles, install their titles. They're still giving you multiplayer access, all that stuff. They're just removing the eShop part of it. Nintendo basically just removes the platform as a whole, like the online platform for those consoles. It's like it's gone. We're just removing the entire thing. So there is a difference there. But the worry is always, are we ever going to be able to see these titles again? Are we ever going to be able to access these titles again? Are they just going to be lost into the, you know, the nothingness of gaming history? Are they going to be preserved somehow? You know, and that's the worry for a lot of gaming enthusiasts and people that understand what the history of gaming actually means for the industry. You know, it's a concern for sure. Oh yes. Is Texas Chainsaw Massacre on Game Pass? We'll pull that up. When we look at this, we'll also pull up current reviews of the game. Early access reviews were saying the game was pretty solid, but we'll have to wait till we get consensus reviews across. We'll look at Metacritic. We'll look at Steam reviews. We'll see what people are saying about the game. All right. Red Dead Redemption re-release may have almost been a remaster. It should have been. 13-year-old game ported to the Switch and the PS4 for $50 should have been a remaster. At the very least, it should have been a remaster. Honestly, they're charging as much for a port of a 13-year-old game as they would have charged for a game that was remade. A remaster probably should have only cost about 30 to 35. A remake would have cost 50 to 60. Probably 60. This should have been more like a gift. Like $10. Something like that. This is disgusting. And Rockstar can get wrecked for this. This has made me see Rockstar. Like, I've already talked about this a lot here lately. Rockstar's been a company that I've known for a while, hasn't cared about anything but, dollars. And I understand business is a business, but there's a difference between a business that is good at taking care of the consumer, actually giving a crap about the quality of their gaming content and stuff like that, and their fan base, their community. And then companies like this that are just wholly concerned about greed. That's what Rockstar is. Just concerned about greed. So I won't be looking to play any Rockstar games moving forward, really. I'm done with Rockstar crap. I own Red Dead Redemption 2. I haven't played it yet. I got it for a pretty good price last winter sale time. I'll play that. But moving forward, Rockstar will be a hard pass for me. I do not want to support that developer. A Jackson Daxter movie is planned at Sony. This is a rumor. We'll wait till we get something substantial on this front, something official. I'm not going to dive into a rumor mill crap. It's probably substantial, but it's still a rumor. It's going to be grain of salt stuff. Know that there's not going to be much more worth diving into this article for. There's a rumor out there that a Jack and Daxter movie is planned at Sony. So, grain of salt there. It's not official. If we get something official, we'll hit on it. Minecraft is coming to Microsoft or Xbox X and S consoles. We already knew that. Is it time to build a PC instead of upgrading to next gen consoles? Yes. Or if that's too daunting of an idea for people, Try a PC gaming handheld first. Work your way into the world of PC gaming. Transition in there kind of bit by bit. Don't you don't have to go full speed ahead. There are ways in which you don't have to go full on $2,000 rig build or anything like that. You know what I mean? And to be fair, you can build a gaming PC at well under that price point too. I mean, well under $1,000 as well, and build it for future upgrades and everything too. But not everybody is going to be feeling comfortable and proficient enough with the idea of building their own PC. You can buy pre-builds. You can buy there's a lot of consoles coming out for PC that like handheld PC gaming devices, things like that that are very similar to the Switch, where you play them on the go. You can dock them to a monitor, a TV, connect wireless controllers to them. The ease of access is nice there. It's not going to be as powerful as like a dedicated gaming rig, PC gaming rig, or anything like that. But I do think that PC is where it is right now. The console market's so scummy, dude. It's so gross. People, part of this community, you hear me talk about it all the time, but yeah, I think it's well beyond time for people to start looking to play on PC instead of console. Absolutely. Now, here's something to consider here as well. Who's the biggest loser of the console realm whenever and we've already seen a big transition. There have been a lot of developers that have talked about they've seen a trend of more and more gamers playing in the PC side of gaming now than ever have. Um, who would be the biggest loser in the console realm of gaming if the majority of gamers went over and played on PC at this point? If it was like a vast chunk of gamers became just PC gamers, and there was a small chunk of the population that still console game, of the three, I think PlayStation's the biggest loser. Nintendo is always going to have their little niche, untouchable kind of area. Xbox will survive because Microsoft is also Windows, which makes it really easy for them to still have people playing Xbox stuff on PC at the same time. And the fact that they've made themselves so accessible through different avenues of gaming, with these different kinds of applications they've gotten pushed out, like whether it be the cloud stuff or their subscription services or what have you. I mean, it's accessible all over the place, right? So I think that Microsoft would be just fine. You're still gonna have obviously people playing Xbox through Xbox on Windows and stuff like that. PlayStation would be hurt, super hurt. I think they're the ones that would struggle the most out of this. PlayStation would. And I think they're not helping themselves, honestly. PlayStation has been very, very, very reluctant to dive into the PC realm at all. They've felt almost pushed into it at this point, to where they're like, oh, we have a PC gaming division now. We're going to start releasing our games on PC more often, things like that. I'll believe it when I see it. But they've been very reluctant to move into putting their content into the PC side. And I think as more and more people move into PC gaming, that hurts them more and more. Prep for fall with Humble's end of summer sale. See what that is. Yeah. Yeah, bro, you're good, dude. You just munch down, dude. You munch down on that breakfast, Doug. I want you nice and ready for the work day, dude. Don't you even worry about it, brother. Apparently, Destiny. Bungie is hiring for a comedic new game, dude. I played more Destiny 2 last night. My wife and I have been playing some games together. Like one night a week, we'll hop in and play games together. Destiny 2 has really been seeming real gross to me. The more I play the game and the more I see what they've done with it since I played it upon Destiny 2's initial release, what it's turned into, it feels really gross. And I've always liked, Bungie as a developer. I think that they care about their employees. I think they take care of their employees from what I understand. I think they care about their games and their community to the point of where they don't mess around, dude. Anybody that tries to um, degrade their games with to any extent, really, but especially with like any kind of hacks or cheats or anything like that, they wreck those people and they wreck those businesses that create those hacks and cheats. I respect the crap out of that, but man, Destiny 2 feels so scummy. Getting back into it, seeing what the game has become, it feels so scummy, dude. There is. So, whenever I played the game initially, right, I bought this game. I bought like the upgraded version of the game on release back in the day. And it was supposed to come with like it was like base game, which was like AAA price point, and then I paid extra for like the deluxe version, which was supposed to come with a chunk of the DLC and everything. Well, I lost that account because they switched over from the BattleNet stuff to their own stuff, and I was so busy at the time that I missed out on the emails and everything, or I saw them and just didn't get it taken care of in time or whatever. But then this game, and so part of that's my fault, but it's still the game then becomes free. I think Ferret said it best, and Ferret is a long time player of this game, but they call it free to play. It's really more like free to try. It's like free to try. The base game is free, so people get in here and play this for free, and then all the DLC is crazy expensive. And as you play the base game, it's just promoted everywhere. Oh, you want to do this quest? You want to get these items? You want to do this stuff? You need this DLC. You want to do this? You want to buy this? You want to experience this? You need this DLC. And then there's also a premium currency in the game now where you go in there and you can just buy all kinds of premium currency stuff with real money. And it's like, Jesus, it feels pretty gross, dude, seeing what the game has turned into. Um, I don't know, man. The game is cool. It feels good. It's neat. I understand the premise behind live service games, big live service games, especially needing to continue to generate revenue for long-term feasibility of maintaining the game and creating content. It takes a lot of resources and time and development and all of that. I get that, but man, for them to have done all of this, where I mean, like we pulled it up yesterday, it was like $400 worth of DLC, over $400 worth of DLC for the game. Look at this. $415 worth of DLC. I was wondering about this yesterday too. You see all this items available for this game? This is all that in-game premium currency stuff too. So not only have they made this game free to try, so they can promote basically coming out with a new DLC every single year and making people pay for this new DLC every single year. They have in-game premium currency, you know, and I don't know. It seems a bit much. It seems a bit over, you know. Uh, Personally, we see so many businesses that have developers that have resorted to these kinds of tactics, and then we see the few others that have stayed true to still making money but not being greedy about it. And it feels so good to see those few that do that. Like for me, it seems like they would have still been fine just selling this game as a base game for, you know, AAA price point. And then you want to include like in-game premium currency for certain stuff or whatever, they would have still been making a ton of money off that. You know, keep coming out with new content. It's a live service game. AAA price point game, base game. You continue to get the new content for each season that comes out or whatever, and then premium currency, whatever. At the very least, dude, if they wanted to make this free to try, because that gives people an easy way to get in and try the game and experience it, and that's, I'm sure, one of their tactics was like, this game's really good. We need to get people in here to try it and get them hooked in, right? Then, really, dude, I mean, so what they wanted to do was like make the DLC cost after that, right? You really need to do the premium currency thing, you know? I mean, I don't know. It just seems a little bit much, dude. Seems a little much, in my opinion. But I'll get off of that rant for a moment. I've just noticed more and more as I've been in there playing for about 5 to 6 hours now, of how kind of gross it feels seeing all of it at this point after playing the game whenever it originally released. You know, it feels pretty kind of disgusting. But they are hiring for a new comedic game, and I think Bungie's a good developer. I do think they're a good developer. But dude, I hate to see a game go through that much change into a heavy. I mean, you can't help but see it as like a greed approach. I mean, I can't. I don't know. It seems really, really rough, dude. If you want all the content for that game, like if you, I don't know that you need all that DLC, but if you want all the content for that game, you're looking at paying probably roughly $300. Yeah, Yeah, I mean, I'm of the same mindset. Look, and you guys know me too. I mean, if I'm playing a game that is, if I've been playing a game and I've been enjoying it and I've been putting a good amount of time in it, I think it's worth paying, giving back to the developer, giving back to the company that has provided me with that experience and that opportunity. I truly believe that. But all too often, I think we see this situation here, like with what has happened with Destiny 2. And it just feels really, really greedy. It just feels really gross. Like I said, I mean, even if you don't need all that DLC, you're looking at probably paying $250 to $300 if you want to experience everything that game has to offer. I'm sorry, but I don't know that. I mean, I highly, highly, highly doubt that seems worth it to me. I don't know all the content that's in the game, so I can't tell you definitively, but I highly doubt it. I can't really fathom paying that much for a video game. You know, um, it's kind of wild. And then on top of that, they've even got premium currency in the game and stuff too to try to entice you to buy other things. Again, it's a very well developed game. There's a lot of really cool, very deep, ways to build and character builds, equipment, stuff like that. It's very neat. They've done a good job with it. I enjoyed it in the first place too, but it's turned into something that is kind of disgusting in my opinion. They've got apparently a new comedic game coming. They've got Marathon that is not going to be very far from release. Marathon is an extraction shooter. I'm kind of scared of what Bungie's doing, though, to be honest. After diving back into Destiny 2 and seeing what it is, and what they've done with it price wise, what they're making people pay to play all that content, I'm kind of scared of anything coming out of Bungie now. I don't know, man. Same here, Davey. Yeah, same here, dude. Yep. Mm-hmm. Same here, buddy. We talked about this yesterday. I mean, we'll pull this up and see what they have to say. But yeah, the Lenovo Legion Go gaming handheld. It's very Switch-like, but it actually is ergonomic. It actually has contours which fit your hand, which is, hey, Nintendo. We don't know anything price-wise. We don't know anything hardware yet. It does look to be a bit of a beefier kind of handheld, which means probably a bigger battery, which is good. But we'll just have to wait until we get some more details on it before we really. Another thing that's going to be a big deal about the Lenovo Legion Go, which is going to be a PC gaming handheld, is that build quality, um, the how consumer friendly is it going to be too, right? So as far as, are replacement parts going to be cheap? Is it going to be easy to replace parts? Can you open it yourself as a consumer and replace things without voiding the warranty like you can with the other two? These are things that are going to determine how well it stacks up against something like the Steam Deck and the Asus ROG Ally, right? So until we get more info on what the Lenovo Legion Go actually, all those other fronts, hardware, stats, the price point, consumer friendliness, build quality, all that stuff, it's going to be hard to determine right now. We'll get that stuff soon enough, though. It'll be coming. It'll be coming. Jesus. Parents sue gaming platform Roblox for illegally facilitating child gambling. Yeah, that's not a surprise. I'm not even going to dive into that. Look, Roblox is one of the platforms that always promotes itself as being like aimed towards children and youth, but dude, they don't do a bang up job at protecting the younger audiences that are or younger members that are part of their gaming community. They just don't. They never have done a great job about it. They're it's a weird place. Roblox is. It's obviously the internet and gaming communities, the anonymity it provides, it allows for predators to um, bait like they are also younger and or just for some reason want to do weird stuff like create uh, adult oriented content and expose kids to it. It's a weird thing, dude. I don't know why, but it happens all the time. And Roblox is not good about filtering it. They're not good about finding it and preventing it from being exposed to these younger audiences or anything like that. They never have been. They've had all kinds of issues with this over the years. So I'm not surprised to see that article, to be honest. You can look into it if you want. I've said this about Roblox forever and ever. Um, and for as far as that goes, any other developer that is aimed at providing an online community for underage, young, youth, you know what I mean, audiences, at the top of their priority list should be protecting those individuals from content like that. It's not an easy task, but if you're going to be developing a platform aimed at those audiences, that it has to be at the top of your list. And not many of them are good at it. Roblox has had a plethora of issues keeping kids away from bad content. As just another flippin' example of it, I guess. We've already got that up. Of course it will. Okay, let's go look at our other search. Yep. This is WrestleQuest. Um, so let's actually bring up WrestleQuest real quick. We were supposed to start playing this on the 8th, and it got delayed last minute. So the unfortunate thing here is that there's no new updates on here either. So this was the last one. This is where they basically said, "Yo, we have to delay it to the 22nd. We're planning on starting this on the 22nd." But the unfortunate thing is this releases 2 days before Blasphemous 2. So I really want to play Blasphemous 2 on release as well, and we'll just have to see how this goes. But I'm going to start playing this on the 22nd as long as it releases on the 22nd. And if it's so good that I need to delay the start of Blasphemous a little bit till I finish this, then I'll do that. Otherwise, we'll just start Blasphemous 2 on the 24th, and then we'll play this. We'll finish this afterwards, but we'll see. But hopefully they've gotten it all straightened out now. That's the hope. Sorry, guys. We got this up. Looks like there's a Slime Rancher movie in the works as well. All right. All right, look. Picked up a Kappa, dude. Oh, that's funny, Davey. Nice, dude. That's funny. So here's the deal. I think that hopefully, I here's the hope. So is Marvel's Iron Man coming to Game Pass? This is actually important. This is important because this is an EA game, and as well as Black Panther, both superhero games being developed by studios under EA's umbrella, which means they're going to be published by EA as well. Um, EA's terrible, and my advice to people is that as much as you might love these characters, either Iron Man or Black Panther, be hesitant about these. EA's not a good company. They don't really care about quality of their games. They're more about just pushing them out and having people buy them. That's all they really care about. So the reason the Game Pass part is important is because if people are adamant about playing these games and trying these games, then my advice is play them on Game Pass. Play them on a subscription service so that you're not paying full price for a game that could quite possibly be a hot pile of garbage. You would hope not, but to be fair, occasionally EA will come out with something decent under their umbrella. It's inevitable. Their canopy is so huge, and they have so many other developers that fall underneath them. You know, the subsidiaries that are part of them. It's inevitable that from time to time they have a decent game come out, but more often than not, their games are subpar. And the fact that they have a lock on so many notable IPs, iconic names and characters and franchises and sports and stuff like that, it's a very lucrative company because of that fact. But it sucks nonetheless. And so my advice here is we'll pull this up and see if it's coming to Game Pass, but if it's going to be on Game Pass, play it on Game Pass. Don't buy this. Don't pre-order this. Don't buy this day one. Try it on Game Pass first. If it's a banger, by all means, go buy it. You know what I mean? But Jesus, just don't feed the EA beast if you can keep from it, man. New update for No Man's Sky. And guess what? You won't pay a penny more for it than the base game costs. Not a penny. The amount of major updates and content updates and everything, and look, I will not try to defend Hello Games and what they did with the release of this game. It was terrible. It shouldn't have ever happened. But you can quite often, this game goes on sale all the time for $30. All the time for $30. And it is stacked with content at this point. And they have never, ever charged a penny over what the base game costs. Ever. And I have to give them credit for that. So they do deserve credit for being a company that doesn't have in-game transactions, doesn't have DLC, anything like that, as a quite opposed to what opposite to what we just talked about with like Bungie and Destiny 2. A game like this, tons of content, continuously pushing out content for this game, and never paying anything over the base price of the game. You know, it's a rarity, but refreshing to see. We're gonna take a look at this. We've already got something up. Did I not? I guess I didn't pull that. Okay. Last page here, and then we'll dive into these articles. Yeah, we've already got that up. How about you celebrate the launch of Madden 24 by not buying it? Yeah, I know. It was. I mean, it's iconic for being one of the most terrible modern gaming releases. I mean, and that's why. And look, I've talked about this recently. I've got an article up about it on YouTube, actually. What's up, Alunico? How you doing, buddy? I don't care who the company is. I don't care what the game is. If a game released in a terrible state, whether it be something like No Man's Sky, where they absolutely hyped up a game for including content that it came nowhere near including, or a game like Cyberpunk that they released, CDPR released, for that was nowhere near being ready performance-wise. You know, I don't give a crap. Across the board, if a game's not ready and you release it, you're a thief of a company. You're baiting people into buying your game. You're stealing money from people by selling a broken product. And it's a scam. We need more regulations in the industry that hold companies responsible for it. And people try to take up for these companies that they love by saying, well, they deserve credit for sticking by the game. No, they don't. No, they don't. They don't deserve credit. They don't deserve awards. They don't deserve kudos. They don't get a pat on the back for sticking by the game and making it playable or putting the content that in there that was supposed to be in there in the first place. They did their flipping job. They did the job that they were supposed to do in the first place. They just did it after they released the game, which shouldn't have happened, right? That's what I was saying. That's what I just said, Alunico. The problem with No Man's Sky was not performance. It was them promising content that wasn't in there. That's what I just said, yeah. So, I don't care if it's either one of those. Not promise, the content's not there, the performance isn't there. I don't give a crap what it is. If it's any of those things across the board, a company does not deserve to be commended for sticking by the game and turning it into what it should have been on release anyways. You know what I'm saying? Too many people do that. It's the wrong mindset. It's the wrong mindset. I get so tired. I get comments on my videos on YouTube all the time. It's like, well, CDPR stuck by the game and they deserve the money they get because they stuck by that game. It's like, no, they duped 13 million people into buying that game pre-order and on release. They don't deserve a pat on the back for what they did with Cyberpunk by sticking by it and turning it into something actually playable. That's the way it should have released in the first place. You don't get a pat on the back for that. You don't get an award. You don't get commended for that. You did your job, which you should have done in the first place, right? That's the way that goes, right? Um, yeah, No Man's Sky is supposed to be very good. It is. And Cyberpunk's supposed to be very good too, which is great. That's great. But I don't like that mindset. I think it's a terrible mindset for us as gaming enthusiasts to have where people start trying to go act like these companies that do this to us should be commended for sticking by the game. It's not the right mindset, man. It's not the right mindset. It's like giving them a pass for doing what they do, which is knowing a game's not ready, pushing it out the door, stealing our money, and then leaning on the internet and being able to touch the game after the fact as a crutch instead of a nice utility to fix some things. You know what I mean? They lean on it as a crutch instead and go, push it out the door. We'll still make money off of it, and then we'll just fix it later. And some of the companies don't even fix it later. You know, it's disgusting, dude. It's the wrong way to address things. But No Man's Sky was terrible. The thing that they have gotten right. Alunico, yo, I've got an article up about God of War right now. They're saying a third one's on the way, dude. We'll read about it in a second. Sorry, dude, I'm ranting right now. It's good to see you, buddy. Happy Saturday. So No Man's Sky, what I will give No Man's Sky and Hello Games, which is the developer behind No Man's Sky, what I will give them credit for is the fact that ever since that game released, and they did finally get the game into a state in which it should have been in the first place, they have continued year after year after year to continue to put big new chunks of content in that game and not charge anybody a single penny for it. All you do is buy the base game and you continue to get new content all the time. If you already own the base game, you just continue getting new content. And the game is supposed to be very good nowadays. It is supposed to be very good. My thing is, I have a really, really, really hard time wanting to support companies that have shown me over the recent history of their business practices that they're willing to cheat customers. That's where I have an issue. I haven't played No Man's Sky because of that. I haven't played Cyberpunk because of that. You know, that's my issue. Oh, for real? Yeah, we're about to dive into it, buddy. Yeah. So, I don't know. It gets me obviously so riled up, dude. I hate that mindset that I see so often from people, and I'm not talking about necessarily people in our community and stuff, but I get comments on my videos on YouTube all the time whenever I've gotten certain videos out there where I try, my whole thing's about like, I've got a certain way that I approach the industry and I address the industry. And I think it's, in my opinion, for the better health of us as enthusiasts and consumers, right? Now, not everything we do is beneficial to us in the way that we have relationships with developers, and I address that kind of stuff too. But developers have damaged our relationship, and they've done things to us for a very long time. And what I try to do is educate in a way that I think we need to approach the industry differently and quit supporting what has happened to us for such a long time. We need to change the way some of this stuff works, right? God of War, Davey. God of War. Yeah. He's trolling you, Davey. He's trolling you. God of War, yeah. He started playing Lunico started playing 2018's God of War, man. And he's loving it because the game's a banger, dude. The game's good. Yeah, I've got that already. We'll talk about that. Gamescom is coming up on Tuesday, guys. We'll be watching it here in the channel at about 1 o'clock p.m. my time. Channel time. PS5 RPG stealth release surprises PlayStation fans. I'm Batman. That's funny, dude. Get wrecked, Tom's Guide. Whatever. Both of those fronts get wrecked. RDR should not have been released like this. Should have been a remaster. There's nobody that should be paying $50 for this game. And the Switch is old. Get wrecked. Gaming pre-orders are rightfully taken to task for being more detrimental to gamers than not. Absolutely, dude. I'm reading this article. Dude, this is one of those other things, like what I was just talking about, like promoting a mindset for us as consumers and gaming enthusiasts that I think is healthier for us all the way around in changing the way the industry works. This is it. This is one of those things I preach about all the time. Oh, I knew they would. I knew they would, Alunico. I knew they would. Still doesn't make it right. I knew there are a ton of people that would buy it. It's disgusting, actually. That game is a port, a direct port of a 13-year-old game. It should have been like $10 to $15, maybe. If it was a remaster, it would have maybe been somewhere around $35 to $40. A remake, probably $60, right? Let's be fair. They're charging $10 under what a remake of that game should have cost for a flippin' port of the original game. The people that buy this game, in my opinion, are ignorant. People that buy the RDR port are ignorant. It doesn't make sense, man. That's so, I mean, and don't get me wrong, RDR is a banger of a game, but no, that's me, Davey. We'll look it up. I'm pretty sure. We'll look it up right now. We'll look it up. Red Dead Redemption PS4 port limited to 30 frames. Same exact thing, dude. Same exact thing as the original. Which is what we were told it was going to be. We were told it was going to be the same exact game as the original. And it is. It's still 30 frames. Does it? No, I don't think the resolution was upgraded either, dude. No. I think you saw something. Hold on. Look, bro. PS4 runs the game at 1080p, 30 frames per second. Let's see here. Right on the PS4 gives players the option to use FSR2 upscaling tech. Okay. I didn't see this. Yeah. It runs at native 4K and 30 frames on PS4 Pro and PS5. So if it's just a regular PS4 though, you're not going to get that 4K. Still though, dude, who gives a crap? Whatever, bro. It's still not anything that the developer did themselves for the game. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly. Yeah, still gross. I don't know. But yeah, good call, dude. I didn't see that. I just read that bottom line. Okay, all right, let's dive in here, guys. We got a lot of articles, man. Um, this ambitious RTS RPG mashup from StarCraft Pro players draws inspiration from games like Mass Effect or Baldur's Gate. And it's on Kickstarter now. Zero Space promises an intricate RTS and a lot of narrative choices. Okay. All the genres of yesteryear are coming back to life. We've got CRPGs, point and click adventures, and retro LCD games. Yet RTS games, the only noble genre that lets you send entire battalions charging directly into enemy fire because it's easier than coming up with an actual plan, still feel like they're out in the cold. But hey, maybe not for long because a new one called Zero Space hits Kickstarter today, and it's got some very lofty goals indeed. The first game from the Starland Studios, Zero Space, bills itself as a cinematic RTS with an epic sci-fi story where your decisions determine the fate of the galaxy. Looks like it's going for a novel mix of RTS and cinematic BioWare-style RPG. The game's single-player campaign mode will feature all that factional stuff you'd expect from an RTS, 4 main and 6 mercenary factions, with the latter featuring units but no structures, alongside branching narratives and RPG elements similar to games like Mass Effect or Baldur's Gate. That means stuff like interactive dialogues, 40 side story arcs, even loyalty missions for the hero units. Good luck navigating that moral minefield. Neither Zero Space's Kickstarter nor its press release says anything about getting the bad ending because your strategy entailed feeding thousands of troops into a meat grinder. Nice. But I kind of hope it does. Call that the Renegade playthrough. But least you fear all this plot and narrative stuff is going to distract from the proper business of developing an inscrutable strategic meta. Zero Space is very keen to emphasize its RTS bona fides. Starlands promises all sorts of moving parts, the aforementioned factions, plus 14 hero units that provide for nearly limitless combinations in combat. Historically, RTSs have constrained players to a set of rigid tools the developer has constructed, but Zero Space's mix and match system for factions, mercenaries, and heroes brings near limitless levels of player expression, says lead campaign designer Grant Pirtle. Where will you be expressing yourself across 3 mainline gameplay modes: campaign, PvE co-op, and versus? All pretty standard for an RTS, but tucked away in the Kickstarter description is the promise of a truly unique cooperative multiplayer mode that includes a shared persistent galaxy for an entirely new massively multiplayer experience. The video explains that co-op is tied to the persistent galactic map that aims at rewarding progression and supporting guild play and allowing for players to create their own missions to share with the world. The game has also enlisted a bunch of StarCraft pros and their esoteric nicknames to work on the game. Sasha Scarlett Hostin is on the board as lead balance designer. Paulo Katz Vicara heads up design on the game's versus mode, and Jared Pick Krinsel is on board to offer design feedback. Game has apparently been in the making for a few years now, is hitting Kickstarter in an attempt to get it over the finish line. The risks and challenges section says it might have to seek publishing backing if it doesn't hit all its stretch goals. I'll be honest, it sounds very ambitious to me to the extent that I worry it'll be able to fulfill all its goals when push comes to shove, but I do like the ideas. Combining a BioWare-esque RPG with an RTS sounds like something I'd like to play, and well, maybe Starlance will manage it. Sometimes ambitious indies do pull off miracles. Absolutely. Absolutely. Love the indie world, dude. If you want some of the links out of this, I'll link it to you. There's also Lunico. Oh man. So we've also heard talk here where a new StarCraft is probably going to be coming to us before too long. Not like official, but that could be something coming before too long as well, especially after the Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard, you know? Delta Force is coming for Battlefield's Broken Crown. There's an indie game that has already taken Battlefield's crown. Convince me I'm wrong. There's a game called BattleBit Remastered. If you're not familiar, all right, check this out. Well, I mean, if you want to call them being made, I mean, you can say that. The last one was a hot piece of garbage, dude. I think it's okay nowadays, but nobody plays it. This game, okay, released on June 15th of this year. It is developed by 3 people. 3 people, okay? It has a 90% positive of almost 73,000 reviews at this point. It's very good. I played it. I own it. It's a poly version. You can see it, right? Like, it's a poly version of Battlefield. Do not let that fool you. This game is deep and it's incredibly fun. And it's $15. So if we want to talk about a game that has already taken Battlefield's crown, this is it. This game blew Battlefield out of the water. It is fantastic, dude. It is so flipping good. All kinds of weapons, rank ups, upgrades, vehicles, you name it. It's incredibly, incredibly fleshed out. It's very, very good. I highly recommend. The base edition, $15. The supporter edition, BattleBit Remastered Supporter Edition, is $33 if you just want to support the devs and stuff, you know. But I highly recommend looking at this if you like or liked Battlefield. This is a way to support some indie, like an indie developer that is doing something way better than Battlefield has done in such a very, very long time. Article I was just reading. Oh, you're talking about hold on. The Victorian era. Stop it. Stop it. I'll bring it up, dude. It's a Kickstarter. Did I not link that? Did I not link it? I linked it. It's right there up above you in chat, Davey. It's the PC Gamer. It's a Kickstarter campaign for a like RTS RPG mashup game. They didn't necessarily have a name for it yet, but it's the article just right up there above, dude. PC Gamer link in chat there. Do you see it? So now Delta Force apparently is coming for Battlefield's Broken Crown, which, in my opinion, BattleBit currently owns. For those that don't remember the Delta Force series of games, which was adamantly a limited series, you're not missing much. In '98, the first game was released on PC, emerging as a borderline mil sim title based around the military unit of the same name. It was way back in 2009, the last game in the short-lived series was released. But now a complete reboot has been revealed. It looks like it's coming for Battlefield's somewhat broken crown. Short 30-second trailer. 30-minute second? No. 30-second trailer. We're treated to a glimpse at the all-new Delta Force game that's being developed by Tencent's Timi Studio Group. In case you're not familiar, Timi is a Chinese studio responsible for the likes of Call of Duty Mobile, Pokemon Unite, and Arena of Valor. Delta Force is the studio's latest undertaking, and on the surface, it looks like it's trying to out Battlefield. So returning after 14 years. We'll take a look at this. Yo, you got it, Davey? You got it? Played the original Warcraft, haven't finished it? Oh, dude, I played the crap out of the original Warcraft. Warcraft 2, all those old Blizzard games, dude. I was all over those, man. Yeah. Zug, dude. Stop rocking the boat, man. You're making me seasick. You know what I'm saying?
Recon arrow out. Powering up. Let's do this.
That was just a little taste. It's a bit confusing at first glimpse, but let's outline what we already know. There's a single-player campaign themed around 1993's Battle of Mogadishu, which is the military operation in Somalia that spawned the 2001 movie Black Hawk Down. This particular operation boasted heavy involvement with Delta Force operators. There's a sizable multiplayer offering, including featuring large-scale PvP battles that will incorporate land, sea, and air combat across wide open maps. Battlefield? Strangely, the trailer reveals elements that might not necessarily be considered accurate that seem to be designed to boost the fantastical nature of the large-scale multiplayer environment. For instance, recon arrows fired from bows that absolutely were not a thing during the Battle of Mogadishu. We also see a soldier powering up through the use of some kind of wrist-mounted device. Again, not something we'd have seen used during the early 1990s by the U.S. military. There are weapons, vehicles, and constructs. Is that something that they use now? Do we have wrist power-up things? I need to get one of those. There are weapons, vehicles, and constructs that don't correlate with that timeline, so we can assume that Delta Force will traverse several eras, much like Battlefield 2042's Portal mode. On that note, there are shots in the 30-second trailer that could have been pulled straight from a Battlefield 2042 showcase. There are sounds present in the video, such as Desert Eagle firing, that are ripped straight from Call of Duty. Battlefield is in the trenches right now, suffering under the weight of too many failures and an ever-dwindling player base. Will Delta Force step in and snatch the large-scale combat crown? Again, look, man. DICE really, really did not do well with that last Battlefield game. And it's an EA-published game as well. So, I'm not going to be super butthurt about that. I don't really care for EA. So, and what I'll say here is, again, I will promote BattleBit Remastered. BattleBit Remastered is a $15 game. If you've been missing the Battlefield experience, go play it. It's flippin' fun. It's very well developed. It's a good time. And for a 3-person development team to have created such an amazing experience that really captures the essence of Battlefield, again, yes, it's a poly take graphic style on the game. But if you can just get past that and try it out, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's very, very good. Yeah, I guess Lunico. Yeah, basically, it seems like. Yeah. Which does seem weird to me too, but whatever. I think BattleBit Remastered right now has already stolen the crown from Battlefield. It's not the realistic looking version of Battlefield, but it plays much better. Everything else about it is better. And it's a banger. There's a reason why it has over 70,000 reviews at 90% positive. It's really good. I highly recommend. If you need more out of this, I'll link it. Looks like every other war game. I agree. I agree, dude. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought too. But, to each their own. That's why, I quit playing Battlefield games. I quit playing Call of Duty games quite a while ago because that's the way they all just kind of started washing together for me. It's like, I don't know. It's just, there's nothing unique about them or anything anymore. It just felt like the same thing over and over, I guess, to me. Xbox's next batch of 9 free games is incredible value. Fans agree. Game Pass is the gift that keeps on giving, and for a bargain monthly cost, subscribers gain access to hundreds of fantastic titles, ranging from AAA big hitters to indie darlings. What's more, subscribers will also gain access to first-party releases not only from Microsoft, but also from Bethesda, a publisher that it now owns, has owned for a bit now. Furthermore, with the Activision Blizzard acquisition nearing its completion, subscribers will soon have even more games to play. That's right. Already, there are plenty of awesome titles to download and play on the service, or if you subscribe to the Ultimate tier, stream in an instant. Let's see here. So on Reddit, Xbox fans have been discussing the next upcoming 9 games coming to Xbox Game Pass, offering incredible value. These games include, obviously, Starfield, which will be there on the 6th of September, right? Forza Motorsport, Lies of P. What is this, like a 19th of September release or something like that? It's close. Payday 3, a little bit later. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, dude, it's a good month. It's a good month. Sea of Stars, there you go, Davey. Lamplighters League, City Skylines 2, and Persona 5 Tactica. Dude, that is a banger lineup right there, man. Holy crap. There's a lot of games to try coming up on Game Pass in September, dude. Jesus. I didn't even think about that. Game Pass is often lauded as the best value in gaming, and I totally get it and can't agree, said one Redditor. Yeah, so Starfield will be released on PC and Xbox Series X and S on 6 September. Unless you ordered the Premium or Constellation Edition. If so, your release date is 1 September. Also, for Starfield, be prepared for needing about 140 gigabytes of storage space. It's a large game. My advice to you is shoot for about 10 more gigs of space at least over that. Shoot for about 150 gigs of free space just to make sure you've got enough space to unpack files, install everything. If you're shooting for just 140 gigs, you might find yourself in a bad spot. Shoot for about at least a little bit of a buffer above that, free space wise, okay? So get prepared. It's coming. Game Pass is looking like a banger for September, dude. Holy crap. There are a number of games that I've been wanting to try and play that are coming out that are hitting Game Pass, and we probably will play off of Game Pass too, because Starfield's not one. I'm kind of just waiting to see what people are saying about Starfield. I have an inkling that it's probably going to be pretty solid. Consensus is going to be, and you're always going to have those Bethesda lovers out there that can see Bethesda do no wrong, you know, and so, but looking past it, I still think Starfield will probably be a pretty decent title. And so Starfield will probably be pretty good. And we've got, dude, I've been looking forward to Liza P for a long time. I have concerns. I hope it's good. I think the premise behind the story here of basically the story of Pinocchio set in like the like a Soulsborne-esque kind of title is very intriguing. I hope they did a good job with it. I probably won't play it on release, depending on what we have going on in the channel, but we'll see. Payday 3 is a definite for me. I'll be playing Payday 3 for sure. Payday 3 is something that Payday 2 I played a lot of. Payday 3 is something that I'm really looking to play with the community. I loved Payday 2. I hope Payday 3 is just a more fleshed out version of Payday 2. And if so, I'm going to love it. Sea of Stars, dude. There's Davy's jam right there. You're going to have to let me know how that is, Davy. Persona 5 Tactica. Dude, I've never played any of the Persona games, and I need to. And Texas Chainsaw Massacre is probably something we're going to be playing in October a little bit. We're going to look up some reviews here in just a little bit about Texas Chainsaw Massacre as it released yesterday, okay? But if you need this, dude, Game Pass looking like a really nice play for next month. New God of War game for PS5 seemingly confirmed. This shouldn't be a surprise, really. I mean, as long as they continue to make these like they have, they'll continue to make these games. As long as they continue to make these bangers and people continue to buy them and they're as big name as they have been, they'll continue to make them. What I like is that they're not being pushed out like something like Assassin's Creed or Pokemon or whatever. You're getting that right amount of time underneath it. We had 2018's God of War. Then last year we got Ragnarok, right? 4 years. I think 3 to 4 years between big releases like this is a nice time frame. It's enough to ensure that the developers are really, really getting good quality content into the game, and it's enough to give players time to get hyped up, dude. You know, so my guess would be that like probably won't see this game until, if we were to go off the same time frame between 2018's God of War and Ragnarok, that's 4 years, right? So 4 years would be 2026, somewhere around there, probably 2026 before we see the next one. 3 more years. Looks like a new God of War game is currently in development at Santa Monica Studios and PlayStation, presumably for the PS5, but possibly the PS6 as well. In 2018, the God of War series was rebooted to huge success. In 2022, this was followed up with a sequel, God of War Ragnarok. Just like its predecessor, the PS5 game was a huge success. In other words, perhaps it should come as no surprise that another new game in the series is in development at the same studio that brought you the previous two. Santa Monica, great. I love them. I think they nail these games. I think they're a great developer. And not only that, but bringing the games to PC as well, they do a great job of it. They're good at porting their games, which you can't say for a whole lot of developers anymore. A new God of War game has not officially been announced, but several job listings for the studio all mention that applicants, quote, must have knowledge of God of War 2018 and God of War Ragnarok. What's interesting here is that PlayStation not only wants applicants familiar with the God of War series, but these specific games, suggesting they will be related. That said, this may be looking a little too deep into the wording of the job listing. Whatever the case, what is clear is that the studio is working on a new God of War game. And if the previous timeline alluded to holds up, should be out around 2026. That's just math. Which should be right at the end of the PS5 generation, right? The moment of publishing, the job listings in question have not drawn any type of comment from PlayStation or Sony Santa Monica Studios. Yeah. I don't think most people probably enjoyed Ragnarok quite as much as 2018's, but the consensus was it was still right up there with it, you know? So there we go. Another God of War. Shouldn't be a surprise, really. Modern Warfare 3 beta to start October 6th. That's really what we needed to know. If that's the starting weekend, it'll be PlayStation exclusive. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 beta start date confirmed as Friday, October 6th. Question mark. The sheet was shown to me in my local game digital store this afternoon. Not sure if this has already been confirmed officially or not. Yeah, the first beta weekend will start from October 6th through October 10th on the PS4 and PS5, with beta weekend 2 starting October 12th through October 16th on all the other platforms. All right, here are your key dates right here. Full release is November 10th. Early campaign access will be November 2nd for those that buy into that. And Season 1 launch December 5th. All right. These are all the key dates. I'll link it for you. New Xbox sale makes some games as cheap as $1. Let's see what we got here. You need Xbox Live Gold to access these deals. Aren't they turning that into something else? What are they calling that now? It's being called something else now. Xbox Live Gold is I can't remember what they're calling it though. The latest deals with gold discounts, 59 different Xbox One Series S and X games. Some of the deals are for some of the biggest AAA Xbox games. Meanwhile, other deals are for smaller games and discounts said games to dirt cheap prices. 3 of them for just $1. Sir Love-A-Lot's $1. Violet Remastered is $1, and Cuyo Blaster is $1. Some of the other bigger name games that are discounted include GTA 5, RDR2, Dying Light, Borderlands 3, Borderlands Game of the Year Edition, Legendary Collection of Borderlands, New Tales from the Borderlands, A Plague Tale Innocence, Evil West, Kerbal Space Program, Greedfall, Vampire, and Prey. You'll just have to go look at the links here to see how much those are, but it appears that there's About almost 60 games on sale here if you have Xbox Live Gold. Okay, take a look. Might be worth. Here we go. All right. So we'll read about this. Texas Chainsaw Massacre released yesterday. That's exciting. Early reviews were praising the game. And so we're going to look up some reviews after we read this on Metacritic, which Metacritic at this point will probably only have critic reviews, but we'll look at Steam as well and see what's going on there, okay? Texas Chainsaw Massacre is out now. Many are wondering if they'll have to pay full price in order to get access to it. Over the last decade or so, there's been a huge rise in asymmetrical games, particularly in the horror genre. Games like Friday the 13th and Dead by Daylight have dominated this genre, highlighting a huge appeal for both the genre itself and games that utilize iconic horror franchises. Although DBD has Dead by Daylight, has plenty of original content, it has leveraged the likes of Alien, Halloween, and other horror franchises and content updates to draw in more audiences. With that said, the latest game in this genre is a multiplayer adaptation of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This came out yesterday on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC, much to the excitement of fans. The game has been met with rave reviews already and is a prime example of how these franchises can be used in gaming. It's also an opportunity to shed a positive light on a franchise that has died out in recent years with fewer films, especially as the last few have been absolutely lambasted by fans and critics alike. However, sometimes it's difficult for fans to fully enjoy these kinds of games as they're best played with a group of friends, and not everyone can or wants to shell out a bunch of money for a game to play in a group. Thankfully, Xbox fans won't have to deal with this. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is available through Xbox Game Pass. If you want to play the game, own an Xbox, and have Xbox Game Pass, you can play the game at no extra cost. Of course, you can also sign up for Game Pass right now, get the game at a cheaper cost than it would be to buy the game outright. Be warned, if the game leaves Xbox Game Pass in the future, you will have to pay for it, just like every other title on the subscription service. Okay, that's very good. Let's go take a look at some of these reviews right now. Now, if you didn't know, the one of the big differences behind, very positive right now, 86%, nice. On release too, pretty good, pretty good. So one of the things to know about this game is it's a 4v3 scenario. So instead of most of these other games that you see in the horror genre of the multiplayer experience, where you're getting like a 4v1, normally it's one killer versus four survivors, and that can be Evil Dead, that can be Dead by Daylight or Friday the 13th or whatever. It's normally just one killer. This is more true to what this story initially was. And to be fair, if you didn't know, this is based off of a true story. And it's nice that they kept this true to what the story really was, which is three killers going after a number of survivors. And so it's going to be a little bit different than maybe what you've experienced in some of these other horror survival multiplayer games. So it's going to bring a bit of a different aspects to it with four survivors and three killers. Kind of wild. So far, very positive. It's not DBD. But pretty cool game. Could do with some more bug and performance fixes. 12 hours right now. Game is pretty fun. I'm enjoying it with my friends a lot. Maps are pretty easy to learn. Plenty of places to hide. Hoping the devs come out with more maps in the future, though, as right now there's only 3 different maps. Each have their own day, dusk, night cycle, though. Some issues we're having is random crashes, issues with connection. I understand the game has been released for less than 24 hours at this point. I'm hoping the devs can work on that. Also, maybe a reconnect button if you crash mid-game. Yeah, that'd be dope. After 2 games alone, I'm already having way more fun than I had with DBD in the past year. Game's graphics are absolutely stunning. Gameplay makes it feel like you're inside the game itself. Jesus, 10 out of 10 game. Don't do that, dude. No, it's not. I know it's not. Okay. It's looking pretty solid so far. Did they say anything about... They haven't said anything about any patches yet. Let's look at Metacritic. We'll look at Metacritic real quick. That's not right. 72. 72 from critics, huh? Man, they're all across the board here. Wow. Let's look at something average, middle of the road here. Let's look at these two. Despite the Texas Chainsaw Massacre's hiccups, I've had a blast with it. As a diehard fan of the original film, Sumo Digital's take on its disturbing universe is faithful, suspenseful, and a lot of fun. Bear in mind, TCM will require a ton of support to maintain an interested player base. But if it gets even half of the love and care that DBD receives, it will be a multiplayer staple for years to come. Ladies and gentlemen, start your chainsaws. Due to its lackluster beginning experience, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre might be a little obtuse for players that aren't familiar with asymmetrical games. However, players who have plenty of experience with the genre will find a wonderful treat with this game compared to more prominent titles such as DVD, thanks to its potential for more skill-based gameplay. Interesting. Okay. Nice. We'll keep up with it. We'll keep up. We'll keep looking at it and see how it goes. Wait, what? Alunico? PS Store. They released a pack. So 100, like 100, is that US dollars? 100 US dollars? Is that for real? For RDR 1 and 2? No way, dude. And 67 if you have PS Plus? Or is this your currency, dude? It'll probably be close anyways, but yeah. 108.90. No, that wouldn't be right. 108 and it'd be like 79 maybe. Or no, it wouldn't be that much. 108 and like 75 probably, something like that. Relative to both those. Yes, man. I mean, for the other price with the PS Plus. So it'd be like 108 to $109, and then the other one would be like closer to like $75 is what I'm saying, dude. Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. I'm talking about the other price point, dude. With if you have PS Plus. I understand what you're saying about the conversion. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. It was just lost in translation, dude. Sorry. Um, so well, it's still bad as far as I'm concerned. Look, dude, like I said last year, dude, I basically got RDR2 in the winter sale. I got RDR2, the enhanced edition or whatever. I got RDR2 for like $15, Doug. So even with PS Plus, you're still paying $50 for RDR1. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. It's still gross to me. It's still gross to me. So here's what happened. So end of last year, there was a winter sale. Like most of the major platforms do winter sales, right? And on PC, there was a winter sale on Epic. They had the deluxe version of RDR, the like all inclusive version or whatever of RDR 2. So Red Dead Revolver 2 or Red Dead Redemption 2, I mean. They had it. It was like $20. It was on sale for like $19.99. And I also had a 25% off coupon, which Epic does all the time on their big sales. So I literally got Red Dead Redemption 2 for like $15. Yeah. Yeah. Witcher 3, I think I got for like $9, the full game. You know what I mean? And so if you take that into consideration for that like $75, if you have PS Plus, take $75 US, right? If you take the 15 away that I would have paid for RDR 2 last year, that's still a $60 price point for RDR 1, dude. Humble ever have free games? I don't think so, Davey. So that's actually, you can get RDR 2. Now, I don't know about on like PlayStation or console or anything, but that's why people need to come play PC, all right? That's just another reason people need to come play on PC. You know what I mean? So if you take a hard look at that price point, if you're looking at US dollars, $75, right? $75, and that's if you have PS Plus. Take away that 15 that I got RDR 2 for last year. That's still $60 you would be paying just for the port of RDR 1. It's not a good price point, man. I think this is where people have got to start like taking a real critical look at. It's like, oh, well, they package these games together, and that's a pretty high price point. But if you got PS Plus, it's cheaper, and that's a better deal. But if you look at it critically, it's really not. The original, the higher price point is astronomically bad. And even the PS Plus price point is stupid. You know what I mean? If you really break it down and look at it, it's terrible. It's terrible. That's what I'm trying to get people to do, though, is like really take a critical look at it. And look, everybody's opinion of, I guess, a price tag and what the value is of what you're getting for that price is going to differ, right? I just want to get people to think about it a little bit. You know, think about, if you break it down, see what you're actually getting for those prices. It seems terrible. It's good to know, though, Lunico. I appreciate it. Gaming industry, absolutely, dude. Yeah. This is what I do. I'm just trying to like open people's eyes to it, man. And I will always pay for what I think something is actually truly worth. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to pay for bull crap like this RDR 1 port, 13-year-old game getting ported over for $50. Dude, that's almost a remake price point. 13-year-old game should have been remade almost at that price point. Why are people paying $50 for it? Let's go, dude. Thanks, Davey. I don't think Humble ever does really have free games, dude. I don't think so, Davey. Yeah. Have a good day, buddy. I hope work goes well, man. Humble's end of summer sale, 90s, save up to 90% on hundreds of games, plus take advantage of bonus special offers for even more savings. Humble's massive end of summer sale. Fantastic. Good old Gabs. Thanks, guys. Humble's massive end of summer sale went live earlier today, discounting hundreds of PC games and even a few Nintendo Switch titles by up to 90% for a limited time. Capcom fans for PC can grab Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy for just $10 US. Monster Hunter Rise bundled with Sunbreak DLC expansion for $40. A bunch of Ubisoft games are also discounted, including Immortals Phoenix Rising Gold Edition for $14. And Far Cry 6 Game of the Year Edition for $36. Plenty of indie PC games like Blasphemous for $6.24, which is a banger. Highly recommend. Pre-orders for its sequel Blasphemous 2 are discounted to $27, normally $30. Other indie games deals include Hollow Knight for $7.50. That's dude. Hollow Knight is so good. If you like Metroidvania platformer games, Hollow Knight is incredible. Cult of the Lamb is another very good game at $17.50, and Rogue Legacy 2, another great game for $16.24. As part of the end of summer sale, additional stacking savings deals where you can earn an extra 15% off when you purchase 3 PC games from a list of discounted titles that include Celeste, Slay the Spire, and the Stanley Parable. All good games. Nintendo games included in the sale are also part of Humble's Switch multiplayer sale, such as Mario Party Superstars for $42, Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition for $42, and Stardew Valley for $9.75. That's a banger of a game to have on the Switch, by the way. It's a very good game to have on the Switch. Hundreds of other games on the deal. They list a bunch of them down here also. I'll link this for you guys. There you go. Destiny 2 creator hiring comedic new game. Bungie appears to be working on another non-Destiny project with a focus on comedic elements. Bungie is one of the most renowned developers out there, having made a name for itself under Microsoft with the Halo franchise. After a decade of doing almost nothing besides Halo, Bungie had aspirations for more and broke away from Microsoft, opting to team up with Activision to make Destiny. The game was a success, but the partnership with Activision caused a lot of behind-the-scenes drama before Bungie opted to once again go independent. After operating on its own for a while, Bungie eventually agreed to be acquired by PlayStation, while still having a great deal of control to do as it pleases and make games besides Destiny, including the recently announced reboot of Marathon. With that said, it seems like more Destiny and Marathon aren't the only projects at Bungie. Bungie has teased a new project to attract a new hire, stating that it's inspired by several genres and a brand new science fantasy universe is wrapped up in a light-hearted comedic world. Also bizarrely noted that it draws inspiration from frog-type games, whatever that means. Bungie is hiring an art director for this incubation project, and it sounds like it'll be vastly different from anything the studio has done before. Given this is an incubation stage, it sounds like it's very early days. Could be years before we see anything from it. However, Bungie seems to be wanting to branch out from being known as the Destiny studio as much as possible. No name for the project yet. They are a very talented team. Yes. They are a very talented team. The more I'm playing Destiny 2, the more Bungie scares me, though. It's a little bit gross, I feel, the way they've gone with the free to try. How much it costs to get all the content in Destiny. Destiny 2 plus premium currency in the game for like microtransactions and stuff. Destiny 2 has definitely turned into something that it wasn't in the first place. And it's a bit of a turnoff for me. And I think it's one of those things that as much as I like Bungie as a developer, I really do like Bungie as a developer. I think they are a good developer, not just talent-wise, as far as making games. I think they're very talented. I think they're very creative, very talented. I think they're also a great company that takes care of their employees, and they take care of their community and their games. But on that front of getting back into trying a little bit of Destiny 2, I'm very turned off by what I've seen monetary wise. The way the route they've taken the game, in the form of how they're trying to bait people into buying into the game. So it's a bit concerning for me, and I'm just gonna have to wait and see like what they do with their future titles to determine how I really feel about what Bungie really is. I don't know. But now we know they've got Marathon and they've got this new project as well that might apparently have to do with frogs. Random vote time, by the way. Why does my bot hate me? Whatever, dude. Is Marvel's Iron Man coming to Game Pass? I'm Iron Man. It needs to come to Game Pass. It'll probably be on EA Play, so maybe. One of the most asked questions about it. So here, Marvel is still trying to expand into the industry. Their first unofficial step seems to be having Marvel's Iron Man be developed by EA Motive. Blech, gross, dude. Also, Black Panther being developed by an EA subsidiary right now as well. One of the most asked questions about Iron Man is whether it'll hit Xbox Game Pass. It's a bang for the buck service, so it isn't odd for people to be asking that already, especially since other Marvel games are on there or have been at one point in time. Can't say for sure what will happen. Do have some indications of when the title might arrive on the surface or the service. It's very likely it will end up on Game Pass Ultimate via EA Play. That's what I kind of figured. However, that won't be until at least 6 to 10 months after launch, since that's how long it usually takes new AAA games by EA to make their way onto its subscription service. Those who subscribe to Game Pass Ultimate will also gain access to everything on EA Play, though not EA Play Pro, EA's PC-only service that gives players access to all their games on day one. Yeah. Yeah, like, right. The world is still recovering from Marvel's Avengers trauma. EA has created some killer single-player titles like... Okay. Let's slow our roll here. Tiab Shah from Cultured Vultures. There was one good Jedi game, okay? Star Wars Jedi series, the latest one, Jedi Survivor, was a hot piece of garbage. Talking about a terrible release across all platforms. Baited so many people into buying that game because the first one was pretty solid. It had some issues on release too. Not nearly like Jedi Survivor. Jedi Survivor, total balls. I'll show you just on PC. It's actually finally all time gone up to a 63% positive. Let's see recent. Hold on. Oh, come on, man. Recent reviews. Over the past 30 days, still all kinds of performance issues. Still all kinds of performance issues on PC. I think it's gotten better on console, but even on console on release, this game was a hot flipping mess. And it's another example, another iteration of EA pushing a game out that wasn't ready. Respawn can get wrecked. EA can get wrecked. Pushing a game out that wasn't ready. They knew people would buy it because the previous game did very, very well. People were hyped about this. And both these companies need to pay the price for it. This is disgusting. So this outlet, Cultured Vultures, and Tayyab Shah want to talk about killer single-player titles like Star Wars Jedi series. Jedi Survivor is terrible, okay? Get wrecked. You don't know what you're talking about. And hopefully the upcoming Marvel's Iron Man and Black Panther games are equally as awesome. Look, man, EA is bound to occasionally get a game right. More often than not, though, their games are mediocre to subpar. They constantly have issues. EA does not give a crap about quality. It's all about pushing the games out, especially when they've got a big name on them like Star Wars or something like that, or Marvel. And, people will buy it anyways. That is the mindset EA has. They can get wrecked. My recommendation to people is that As much as you might like something like Black Panther or Iron Man, wait until these games release and see what the consensus reviews are about these games. If they are terrible, performance-wise or content-wise, don't support these companies. They don't deserve it. No Man's Sky 7th anniversary video teases a new update. No Man's Sky 7th anniversary video gives viewers a whirlwind tour of the many new features that have come to the ambitious open world title over the years, tracing the game's history from Hello Games' team celebrating its 2016 launch to footage of the recently released Singularity update and every major milestone along the way. The video is a walk down memory lane. The clip closes with text stating, "Our journey continues," before the title for the game's newest expansion, No Man's Sky Echoes, fades into view. It's unclear what Echoes will contain, though. Let's see this.
This negative energy just makes me stronger. We will not retreat. This band is unstoppable.
No animation. Oh my god! Rick Planet!
Solid. So after wowing viewers with its reveal trailer at VGX in 2013, No Man's Sky had a tremendous amount of hype surrounding its launch. While the game's early trailer showed a galaxy teeming with life and endless adventures, No Man's Sky's 2016 launch left many players complaining that its procedurally generated universe failed to live up to the Hello Games' pre-release promise. Responding quickly to these complaints, Hello Games has released over 20 free updates to No Man's Sky over the years that have addressed the game's early shortcomings and added a massive amount of new content. The last year has seen Hello Games' sci-fi sleeper hit arrive on two new platforms, with the release of its Switch version in October of last year, followed by No Man's Sky for PSVR 2 in February of this year. The developer isn't limiting itself to a flagship title, though, with co-founder and managing director Sean Murray stating in 2022 interview that Hello Games' new project isn't No Man's Sky 2. What? What is this? That's weird. Yeah, look, I mean, I'll just bring No Man's Sky up real quick. This is one of the more notable modern game releases. Like, anybody talks about a bad game release, No Man's Sky gets brought up consistently, always, right? And it's the example of a game not meeting expectations content-wise. They hyped up what this game was supposed to have in it content-wise. It didn't come close to meeting that. And like I said before, whether you're not meeting expectation, or what if you're not meeting what you're promising content-wise, or you're pushing out a game that doesn't perform, it's broken. You know what I mean? So people can't even experience the content in it. Neither one of those is acceptable, right? Now, what I will say is that I will give props to Hello Games for the fact that you can see this game is right now a $60 price point. It's constantly on sale for half off. All the time on sale for half off, $30. That is all you have ever had to pay for this game. It's not acceptable that they did what they did. I will never agree with that. I like I said before when we were talking in the news segment, they don't deserve kudos for turning the game into what it should have been on release. But what I will say is that this game has received an incredible amount of content. At this point, I would say it's well beyond what was initially promised for the base game. And what they have done is not ever asked for any more money for anything in this game over the base price of the game. This is what you pay for it. You get everything that has ever been developed for this game. That's all they ask. Buy the game, you get everything we make for it. There's no play to try, or you know what I mean, free to try, and then every year a new DLC pack or expansion pack, and having to pay $30, $40, $50 for it like it's a new base game, and no, premium currency in the game or anything that I know of. Anything, I don't think there's any premium currency in the game or anything. It's just getting to experience the game and everything that they bring to the table for it. And you have to respect that. It's a rarity nowadays, but it shows that a company can still be lucrative, can be successful. If they know what they're doing, they're producing quality content. It doesn't need to be a greed fest. It doesn't need to be a greed fest. And I will say that, at least for Hello Games, it seems like they truly were remorseful about the state of their game on launch. And this is their reaction to that, right? Instead of going, well, it is what it is, and you guys bought it, and it, what they did was go, we don't want our company to be viewed as what it has been for the way this game released. We want to pay back our fan base and our consumer base for what happened, and we want to continue to give you quality content throughout the lifespan of this game, which is going on, 2016 it released? Yeah, August of 2016. So we're talking 7 years now. Just hit 7 years. 7 years, and it's a massive amount of content that they've continued to produce. And you just have to buy the base game. It's impressive. It is. And I will give them respect for the fact that they continue to produce this content at a high level and not make people pay anything more than the base game for it. It's a rarity. It's a rarity. I'll actually link the game for you if you're interested. PS5 RPG stealth release surprises PlayStation fans. A new RPG has been stealth released on PS5 this week to the surprise of PlayStation fans. The biggest game on the internet right now is Baldur's Gate 3, which is an RPG. More of a CRPG, to be specific. As you may know, it's coming to PS5, but not until next month. If you need an RPG to hold you off in the meantime, you may want to check out Iron Danger, and the aforementioned PS5 stealth release that PlayStation fans had no clue was releasing this week. Developed by Action Squad Studios and published by Daedalic Entertainment, Iron Danger debuted back in 2020 via the PC and the PC only. Now it's finally on console 3 years later. Not only is it on PS5, but Xbox Series X and S as well. What it's not come to is PS4 and Xbox One, despite being previously announced for these platforms. It's a tactical combat game with a unique time manipulation mechanic. Never before seen combination that blends the tactical depth of turn-based games with the exciting action of real-time games. Tackle challenging encounters with your party of 2 characters using a variety of skills in highly interactive environments. Maybe you'll light an enemy on fire and kick them into a grain field for a proper barbecue, or set up a trap and fell a tree on top of them. Options are endless. You're the one in charge. That sounds dope.
Iron Danger is a
Burn 'em
tactical
all.
RPG
Sorry.
with a unique time manipulation mechanic. Explore a world of
Never mind.
steampunk fantasy and meet its unique
It's got auto
inhabitants
captions.
inspired by Finnish folklore.
Well then, this castle looks pacified to me.
You control 2 heroes who have to work together with precision and foresight, combining unique abilities to conquer their enemies. The core of Iron Danger is its unique time control mechanic.
Interesting.
You can rewind time for up to 5 seconds whenever you want, trying different
Why save
strategies
scum
and
when you can just
combinations
rewind
of
time?
moves
You know what I
until
mean?
you find the right one for the task at hand. Use the interactive environment to your advantage to succeed against impossible odds.
Making nice chicken dinner right there, man.
Fight epic boss monsters on the path to fulfill your destiny. Iron Danger combines rich Finnish folklore with steampunk fantasy. Set in a world of lofty fells, primeval forest, and placid lakes, as well as living gods and monsters of steel. The city of Kalevala, home of humans who rebelled against the gods and forsook their grace, shines in the middle of this world, surrounded by towns, sea lanes, and woodlands under its protection.
Sorry, guys.
From the frozen north, a witch queen leads her army on a quest for vengeance against the lords of Kalevala. Take on the role of Kipuna, a sharp-witted village girl who becomes imbued with an ancient power that grants dominion over time and death.
I think a lot of times having static characters is usually going to be a turn-off in these kinds of games for many people. Not all, but not being able to, like, these kinds of RPGs, role-playing game, you know, you want to be able to, like, have character creation and stuff, too.
Use your wits to control time as you're drawn into the midst of a war between the city of Kalevala and the armies of Northlanders, driven on by their queen, Loki. Master the newfound power in order to use it.
It doesn't look like
protect
that's a thing.
mankind. Your enemies will surely seek to harness it in the service of total destruction.
Maybe I'm wrong, though.
Iron Danger. You will die, but you will not fail.
Iron Danger. It's on Steam. Take a look at it. Play it on PS5. You'll need to fork over $20. Roughly 10 to 16 hours of gameplay. Final play count varying depending on your playstyle. Metacritic PC version of the game boasts a 73. Steam's got about 500 user reviews, 75% of which are positive. Mostly positive. Okay. If you're interested, I'll link it for you. There you go. Bruh, did I have that up twice? Sure did. Okay. Here we go. This is the last article we have for the day. Then we're going to go play a little bit of some Fallout New Vegas for the rest of the day, which is going to be short, guys. Be prepared. Right now, I'd probably have about 3 hours left to game, so we'll probably have about 2.5 hours left to game today. I've got something going on where, unfortunately, I'm going to have a short stream day. So sometimes that'll happen on the weekends, man. Life stuff. So just be prepared for that. But we'll do what we can, man. The streaming content glass is half full, baby. So we'll read this and then we'll move on and we'll do a little bit of gaming today, okay? Gaming pre-orders are rightfully taken to task for being more detrimental to gamers than not. I agree, dude. I say this all the time. I am very, very, very reluctant and hesitant to buy into any kind of pre-order or even quite often day one purchase unless I'm very comfortable with the developer anymore. Because these and it's just full of gimmicks too. Well, buy the game and you can get in and play 3 days earlier. When usually the 3 days early is just riddled with bugs and everything they need to patch out anyway. So the better play is like the people that get to play on the default release date are the ones that are getting the better experience anyways. It's almost like you're like the beta tester if you're getting to the early access, you know, or like the early release date stuff. There's all kinds of gimmicks, man. Like, I will give you a really cool cloak that you can wear around. You can put it on your dog. And, you know, it's, is it really worth like the extra $25 that you're pushing in the game? No, it's not. Not for most people, you know. Gaming pre-orders are rightfully taken to task for being more detrimental to gamers than not. There was a world not so long ago that required discs for playing games. It's still around. Dying, but still around. A limited number of copies. I mean, I'm surprised we're still there, but we're there. A limited number of copies of a title would be produced, and if players weren't on the pre-order list, they could be denied the covetous privilege of playing a game on day one. Or if demand was high enough for weeks, if not months. In the modern age, discs are a relic of the past. Not really. On PC, they are, with most gamers opting for the stress-free experience of downloading a digital copy. Consumers are moving away from pre-orders. Why aren't companies? Pre-ordering goes all the way back to the 1980s. After the 83 market crash, retailers were leery of overstocking merchandise that might never see revenue and were unwilling to subject themselves to another Atari video game burial. An urban legend turned into truth when a New Mexico landfill turned up thousands of unsold Atari systems and games. Yes, pretty sure there was a ton of ET games, right? Weren't there some of the main ones? In order to insulate themselves from any outside issues, retailers and distributors purchased smaller quantities of games and waited to stock shelves until sales were all but guaranteed. In response, players had only one option if they wanted to ensure they got a copy pre-order. We don't live in a world of cartridges or quantity disparities anymore. There is an argument to be made about the longevity of a physical copy during an age where platforms can revoke access to digital materials on a whim, but it's a protection for consumers rather than a necessity for companies. I'm also going to immediately say that indie games are more than welcome to continue to rely on pre-orders. Absolutely. A very necessary lifeline for smaller studios. Yep. According to Exola, indie studios can net between 15 to 28% of their total pre-launch sales the day pre-orders are available to the public. Many indie studios make between 20 to 30% of their first year's sales with pre-orders. Most indie studios don't charge $70 for a base game now, do they? No, they don't. This gripe comes during a year of buggy releases from massive AAA studios with budgets of millions, staff of hundreds, and enough shareholders to pad their pockets. Yeah, it's been a weird year. The past year of gaming has been riddled, plagued with terrible releases, terrible performing releases. And then this calendar year, we've also had some absolute bangers. You know, Indie Dave the Diver, Shadow release by a AAA company in Tango and Hi-Fi Rush. Shadow dropped at a $30 price point by a AAA dev. Incredibly refreshing to see that. And then obviously Baldur's Gate 3 just happened, which is blowing the gaming industry out of the water right now, blowing everybody's minds. We've had Tears of the Kingdom. You know, there have been a lot of fantastic games, and there's more to come, right? Starfield's about to hit. We'll see how that does. A lot of hype around it. There are even more games down the line for the rest of this year that are supposed to be good. But, dude, there have been a ton of bad ones, too. Jedi Survivor, ton of Tecmo games. You know what I mean? Like Wolong, Wild Hearts. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. It just, I mean, the Hogwarts Legacy was a absolute atrocity on PC. There are a ton of just terrible releases, you know. So the last decade has been stained by this conversation, and yet we're still having it every year in almost every release. Despite thousands of gamers rebelling against the norm, companies still force the issue and rely on pre-orders to guesstimate how successful a title will be. Perhaps the worst thing of all is the petty little gifts, agreed, the developers used to incentivize gamers. There are a number of players who have been jilted by the practice, and the list of egregious titles is lengthy. There isn't a game that makes a better case for how broken this system is than Cyberpunk. Thank you. I agree. It's been years since the title dropped, but CD Projekt Red is still nursing its reputation back to health. Just before that, it was No Man's Sky, which we just talked about. Here's my thing. The difference being here, and I've said this earlier today, I've said this time and time again, these companies do not deserve awards, accolades, commendations, kudos, props, whatever, for sticking by their games and making them be what they were supposed to be originally. They did their job. It is not acceptable what they did in releasing titles that were broken or did not meet what they were telling everybody was supposed to be in the game content-wise. Doesn't matter. What's not acceptable, and just because they stuck by the game doesn't mean they deserve to have recognition for it. They did their job. They did the job, finally, that they should have done before the game ever released in the first place. Now, the difference being between these two examples here of CDPR with Cyberpunk and No Man's Sky with, or Hello Games with No Man's Sky, is there's a big difference here. Hello Games being a developer that felt terrible about what happened with their release. They felt terrible. They didn't want their reputation to be ruined. They wanted to make it up to their community and their fans. And so what they've done ever since, and we just touched on in an article just previous to this, is for the past 7 years since that game's release, they have continued to release massive amounts of content that you don't have to pay anything extra for. If you own the base game, you get it. And that was what they've determined they needed to do to give back to the community and the consumers and the gaming enthusiasts that wanted to be a part of their title, and to show them that they're sorry and that they care. Which tells me that Hello Games at least is something of a decent company, right? So for the past 7 years, they have continued to, outside of even making the game up to the point of what they promised it would be in the first place. After that, they've continued to do content update that is just included as part of the base game. All you have to do is buy the base game, which goes on sale for half off all the time, $30 price point, and you can just get all that content. You don't have to buy DLC. You don't have to buy expansions or anything. It's just part of the game. As opposed to a company like CDPR, right? Which, let's be fair, they've got a huge fan base because they're very good at content. They're very good at content, narrative, story, the writing, character, their character backgrounds and the lore and their universes and stuff are very good. But I played Witcher 3 in full last year on PC. I played Blood and Wine. I played Heart of Stone. I played the entire base game. It still crashed on me a number of times. It's still a hot, buggy mess. And it's not even nearly as bad as what I understand it was on release. And then Cyberpunk was atrocious across all platforms. And now you get quotes coming out from a company like CDPR saying, the heads of their development, their company saying things like, well, with Liberty City coming out, everybody will finally be able to experience Cyberpunk like it was originally meant to be experienced. What our vision for the game was. But anybody that bought this game on previous gen console can't play it. You released the game on previous gen consoles, but anybody that owns game on previous gen console can't play your expansion, which apparently to you means that they don't matter. It doesn't matter to you that the game is finally going to be able to be experienced the way you meant it to be experienced, but those people that bought into your title on the platforms it was originally released on can't experience that. Not only that, but in my opinion, Liberty City should have been part of the base game. Because of what you did to 13 million people, yeah? You duped 13 million people on pre-orders and on release sales for Cyberpunk. 13 million sales between pre-release sales and was it 13? I think it was 13. 13 million, I think it was something like that. Between pre-release and on-release sales, it was like around 13 million copies. And instead of trying to show their fan base, their customer base, that they're remorseful for what they did or anything like that, they come out with this DLC. And I know that I'm going to have people that comment on this and go, well, they spent all the time making the DLC. They got to make money off of it. If it's good enough content, they could add it to the base game. It would help with the reputation of their company by being a bit of we're sorry for what we did with Cyberpunk in its release. And if it's good enough content, it will bring people in to play the game that haven't played it before. So they'll be purchasing Cyberpunk as a retail copy. Okay? So people that say that, act like they wouldn't be making money off of it if they didn't sell it as a DLC, you're wrong. Would they make quite as much? Probably not, which is what just shows me that CDPR isn't anything but concerned with greed. They don't care all that much about content or performance or taking care of the community or anything. They're concerned with greed, as opposed to a company like Hello Games, which actually is concerned about their reputation and taking care of their consumer base and their community, their fan base, right? But these are two great examples that I use all the time. The issue is permeating all sects of gaming. Even a multiplayer hero shooter like Overwatch isn't safe from the predatory practice. No shortage of games that have royally burned players, and yet all that has come of the horrid practice is apology letters and promises to do better. Cyberpunk was bad enough that refunds were given en masse, but it did nothing to solve the problem. And why do we do it? For the paltry skins or weapons that developers are kind enough to dangle in front of you as a reward. More often than not, those useless cosmetics are made free when the game is ported or once it gets old enough. Look at one of the 17 times Skyrim has been re-released. Yes. Over the decade, those coveted DLCs that cost me more than a 20-something could afford are all included in one bundle or a repackaged complete edition. The whole concept of limited time only cosmetics or weapons is a fabricated scarcity, one that literally shouldn't exist in a digital world. And it becomes more insulting when the price of any one game jumps from $70 to $300 depending on the version you purchase. This is literally what I was just talking about with Destiny 2, right? So when this game released, it was a base game purchase price. Now it's a free-to-play, really a free-to-try game, where if you want the entire experience of the whole game, you're going to have to buy DLC that costs you over $400, right? There's a reason to charge more for steelbook cases or physical art books and soundtracks, but a digital version needs no extra cost. It makes one wonder why, how much of those extra proceeds go to the artists behind the product, how much ends up in the shareholders' pockets. Most of it. Most of it. No secret the companies are greedy, tend to fabricate circumstances to drive up their profit margins, but for a long time, it seemed like the video game industry was somewhat insulated. As players, we were all startled to learn about the horrendous crunch conditions foisted on many developers, but the stain of greed seems to be spreading. Worst of all, when outliers like Larian Studios, doing Gamer God's work, dude, with Baldur's Gate 3, developers behind Baldur's Gate 3, broke the mold. Developers cry witch and refuse to learn from the process despite gamers' high praise and adoration. Exactly. Oh, this game's an anomaly. Nobody should be looking toward at this game as what games should be in the moving forward or anything. Why? Larian did a bang up job. Granted, not every developer is going to have those amount of resources at their disposal to make a game to the same magnitude of what Baldur's Gate 3 is. But it doesn't mean that we shouldn't continue to be evolving in the right ways, which is what Baldur's Gate 3 is and what Larian Studios has done, and setting standards higher, setting that bar higher to where other developers have something that they should be reaching towards in different facets of their game creation, right? They might not be able to hit all of those. They probably won't. Baldur's Gate 3 is a massively huge, complete title that most RPGs are not going to be able to hit all of those same levels on, right? But reaching for the same is what you should be doing to the greatest extent that you can. Instead of going, oh, nobody should be looking at our titles and thinking that, it's a bad look, dude. It's a bad look. The industry has created a problem that only it can solve. But before it does, we have to stop throwing our money at broken, half-assed, or outright falsely advertised games. Thank you. Thank you. Dude, Ash Martinez. Holy crap, dude. What a great flippin' article. Jesus. Literally, some of the most malding things to me. I mean, you guys know that hang out here very often. I mauled out on this kind of stuff all the time. It really gets me amped up. A lot of what I try to do in these news segments is talk about things that I think are bad for the health of us as consumers and gaming enthusiasts. And a lot of what was talked about in this article, written about in this article by Ash, was exactly what I tend to harp on all the time, man, about the things that are done wrong to us in the industry. But it continues to happen because consumers feed into it. People need to be better at taking a critical look about what's going on, what's happening to us, what these businesses are doing to us, and stop supporting it, man. If you don't stop supporting these things that they do to us, it won't stop. It's just snowball effect, man, and it has been for years on end. It just continues to happen. And that's why, I obviously can't tell anybody what to do with their money, but it's only going to get worse and worse if we don't acknowledge what they are doing to us. Look at the good studios like Larian and Tango. You know what I mean? For taking care of us as the consumer and trying to make us fans of their company for the long haul, because we know that they're doing right by us. We know it's a business. We know these are businesses. We know they need to make money, but there's a right way to make money in this industry, right? There's a right way to make money in this industry. And it's by creating good content, creating quality products, and doing it in a way that you're also taking care of us as the consumer and as your community of gamers, right? But those last two things are often left out. And nowadays, quite often, all four of those are gone, right? Horrible content, badly performing games, and they don't care about taking care of us as the consumer or the gaming enthusiast, right? As their fan base and their community of gamers. And so, but because people get lost in I love Star Wars, or I love, you know what I mean? Any kind of specific developer or what have you, they'll just buy into it. Even though, like, I mean, dude, Elden Ring was terrible on PC on release. And I'm really excited about Armored Core 6. I love mech games. I won't buy it on release. There's no flipping way. If you get bit, don't get bit again. Not until they show you, a developer shows you a track record of being able to do better in the future. From Software, dude, is obviously, people love From Software games. They are incredibly talented at creating content. But it was quite obvious that their Elden Ring release on PC was a port of their console version. And it performed very poorly on PC. Anytime a game is not optimized for PC, directly developed for PC, you'll get people that it plays okay, people that plays mediocre, and people that can't hardly play it at all. That is always the case. And there were key signs through that entire playthrough for me that it was a PC. It was ported to PC from console. So I won't play those games anymore on release. I'll wait and see how they perform. But great article, Ash. Fantastic. God, it's so refreshing to hear somebody write about these sentiments that I express all the time. Fantastic, fantastic article. One moment. Apologies. I had to talk to a family member there. Again, big shout out, dude. I am absolutely enamored by this article. It's very, very good. Very good stuff, dude. Love seeing this. We need more people being educated on why it's important to be careful about these businesses. Big part of it's just because it's not regulated right. This industry is not regulated correctly. So these businesses get over on pushing out bad software all the time, and it feels bad. Which is why the responsibility resides and falls on us as the consumer to be responsible for supporting the correct businesses and you know, not supporting the bad ones. You know what I mean? Sorry for that brief pause there, but I had to talk to a family member real quick. That's the jam, guys. That's the news. Great news segment. A little bit long. That's okay. We haven't had a long one like that in a while, but there was a lot of stuff to talk about. So we are going to get some tunes going here. Let's go. Yeah, baby. We're going to move on and play a little bit of Fallout New Vegas for today, okay? It will not be a long stream today. Probably only got roughly 2.5 hours before I'm going to have to bounce. So, you guys rock. Thank you very much for being a part of what we do. Appreciate it very much. Thanks, Alunico, for the input today, helping me flesh out some of these Red Dead 1 things. Man, we've been talking about that a lot. If anybody was able to check out the video gaming news segment this morning while it was live, or maybe are getting to check this out later as a VOD, all of the rest of our content is on the Twitch channel here in playlists as VODs, highlights, and on the YouTube channel as VODs as well in playlists. It's video game, all the previous video gaming news segments, all of our playthroughs of games we've played that are separated into episodes from each day that we've played, and as well as funny, crazy, wild clips, highlights, just wild stuff that's happened here in the community as we've streamed and stuff. So We're always live, or we are live 6 days a week now, taking Wednesdays off. So 6 days a week, starting at 6 a.m. CST. That would be 4 a.m. Pacific or 7 a.m. Eastern. We always kick it off with video gaming news before we jump into whatever video gaming content we have planned for the rest of the day. So I guess other than that, if you're enjoying any of the content, come hang out with us. We're always looking for more people, cool people to be part of our community and everything. Happy Saturday. Hope everybody's weekend's going very well. We'll do it again tomorrow. But until then, stay healthy, stay safe, be kind. We're going to go play some games. All right.